This time on Superstars, the thief, the thriller, the treasure hunter, the temptress, and the teen queen. Clive Owen has been a household name for over 15 years in his native UK. He first won critical acclaim for his performance in the confronting 1991 film Close My Eyes, which tackled the issue of incest. In 1998, he scored international attention with Croupier and consolidated with a small part in Robert Altman's Gosford Park.
It's a detective story. Murder in the middle of the night, a lot of guests for the weekend, everyone's a suspect.
Welcome to
But it wasn't until 2003 that he really hit the big time, with period epic King Arthur opposite Keira Knightley.
Arthur became king. He was a soldier who wanted to return home.
We have been fighting here for 15 years. I want peace, Lancelot. I've had enough. Yeah, it was great. I mean, at the end of the day, the sort of pressure of playing, you know, a character, such a legendary, mythical character, you can't really take that on. You just go in and you play the script and you play the part to the best of your abilities, and everything else, the whole world and the whole heroic thing has to be sort of built around you.
The crown set off his chiseled jaw beautifully. And it's been all go for Clive ever since. In 2004, he starred alongside Julia Roberts, Natalie Portman and Jude Law in Closer. The study of betrayal was based on Patrick Marber's London stage hit, which Clive had already starred in.
I love you. I love everything about you.
In the film, he got to share several memorable, if challenging, scenes with Julia Roberts.
Don't ever forget it. They are very powerful scenes, but, you know, I'm one of those twisted weirdos who enjoys going to those places and doing those scenes. I mean, they're tough, they're brutal, but they're very, very well written. And it's a pleasure to work with a quality actress like her with fantastic dialogue. However tough it is, however dangerous and dark it might be at times, it's still a pleasure.
You got what you wanted out of me.
By the time he starred in the sci-fi film noir extravaganza Sin City in 2005, the gossip mill was grinding out rumours that he was set to become the next James Bond. And Clive certainly wasn't averse to adding a little grist to it.
I'll always love you, baby.
Always. And never.
I look like I'm going to be busy for a little while, which I'm very happy about.
Yes to Bond or no to Bond?
Sorry?
Bond, James Bond. No, yes.
I'm pretty busy for a while.
The James Bond, are there any truth in the James Bond rumours then?
I'm pretty busy for a while.
Thank you, Clive. Appreciate it.
Although he wasn't to be the next bona fide Bond, he did spoof the role in the remake of The Pink Panther, playing Nigel Boswell. And he certainly wasn't lying about being busy. In the thriller Derailed, he got to share the screen with Jennifer Aniston, but failed to impress the critics. The next year, however, he got rave reviews after working on the screenplay and starring in the portentous tale Children of Men, set in a future world where babies are no longer being born.
So why did you come to me?
I trust you. Show him.
This film is about, you know, hope ceasing to be. At the beginning of the movie, there's no hope anywhere. I mean, it's a very obvious thing because there's nobody having children. If there's nothing to look forward to, nobody's investing in the future. You know, there's the whole world's just imploding. Everyone's just giving up because it's grinding to a halt. And it's about that being reawakened. In Theo, this very apathetic, you know, somebody who was very politically and passionately active in his youth has given up and is totally apathetic and is sort of disillusioned and, you know, distance from the world, but he's reawakened and re-engaged, and there's a glimmer. It is bleak, but there's a glimmer of hope. There is a sort of, it becomes, you know, he ends up thinking that there might be something worth fighting for.
Later in the year, it was applause all round for Spike Lee's all-star heist thriller Inside Man, in which Clive played the mysteriously motivated criminal mastermind.
It's very surprising. He goes in there and takes over the bank, and you think it's a very volatile, violent bank situation, and he's going to go in there, take lots of money and hurt people, and then as the story develops, you realise that it's not quite like that. And it's a very clever, sophisticated crime. It's a very unusual bank robbery when someone leaves all the money.
Indeed. And the growing army of Clive Owen fans can catch him next in Sin City 2. He'll also be donning a doublet and hose to play English adventurer Sir Walter Raleigh in Elizabeth, the Golden Age with Kate Blanchett. Considered by many to have disintegrated into little more than the star of his own freaky sideshow, Michael Jackson officially went the whole way on a recent trip to Japan. The promoter of his trip to Tokyo guaranteed cashed-up fans of the singer the chance to spend 30 seconds with him at a VIP party for the bargain basement price of $3,500.
I just had a few ideas to do something special for Michael, because I know it is not time for him to perform yet. So I figured, let's keep his name out there. Let's do something positive for him, as our name is, Positive Productions, right? So.
A relaxed-looking Michael in trademark sunglasses and black leather jacket, but without the usual gloves, was ushered by guards past hundreds of screaming Japanese fans who couldn't afford to get up close and personal. 40 years earlier, he was being celebrated as the Mozart of pop. Fronting the Jackson 5 at the tender age of 7, he steered all 4 of the group's first singles to the #1 spot. By the age of 18, he was the Jacksons' main songwriter. And as a solo performer, he totally dominated the music scene in the 1980s. First with Off the Wall, then with the biggest-selling album of all time, Thriller. Not only did his music inspire a whole generation of hip-hop, pop and R&B artists, he broke new ground on the dance floor and smashed the boundaries of music video production. But such prodigious and precocious talent rarely comes without complications, and Michael's tendency towards the extraordinary extends way beyond his music. Numerous visits to the plastic surgeon have rendered him unrecognizable from his early album covers. His Neverland Ranch has become a symbol of his desperation to hang on to his youth, while the repeated allegations of sexual misconduct involving children have hung a huge moral question mark over his head and fueled the endless debate over the health of his state of mind. He's been married twice, once to Lisa Marie Presley and the second time to his dermatologist nurse, Debbie Rowe, with whom he's had 2 children. In 2003, he got into strife for dangling his baby over the railing of a balcony in Berlin. Hot on the heels of that scandal came the damaging documentary by Martin Bashir.
There have been many disgusting statements made recently concerning allegations of improper conduct on my part. These statements about me are totally false.
Things got worse when he was charged with 7 counts of child molestation and 2 counts of administering an intoxicating agent to the 13-year-old cancer patient who featured in Bashir's documentary. Good friend Elizabeth Taylor defended him publicly on TV, and after several headline-stealing court appearances, Michael was finally acquitted in June 2005, before going to ground in Dubai. By the end of 2006, he was back, talking up his planned new album. And in recognition of his incredible career achievements to date, he was invited to the Guinness World Records office to scoop up 8 world record certificates, including youngest vocalist to top the US singles chart, most weeks at the top of the US album charts, and the first entertainer to earn more than $100 million a year. Next day at the World Music Awards, he arrived on stage to the strains of We Are the World, the song he co-wrote with Lionel Richie in 1985 to raise funds for famine relief in Ethiopia. He was presented with a Diamond Award commemorating the 25th anniversary of Thriller, making him far and away the most awarded recording artist in history. And no matter how the world judges him as a man, the influence of his musical genius will never be eclipsed. He was named Bachelor of the Year by People magazine. And in an interview with Entertainment Weekly, Matthew McConaughey happily admitted he'd been blessed in the looks and physique department, clearly agreeing with his high school colleagues who voted him most handsome. He hit the big time in the 1996 adaptation of the John Grisham novel A Time to Kill.
That day, we have a duty to seek the truth, not with our mind, but with our hearts.
By the early 2000s, he found his feet in romantic comedy, starring in The Wedding Planner with Jennifer Lopez and How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days with Kate Hudson.
It's a baby fern.
The film satirized the games people play when embarking on relationships. But at the premiere, Matthew had some sage advice.
Game playing can be fun, but shoot it straight. It's hard enough to go ahead and have a relationship work. Shoot it straight from the beginning. Go with the honesty policy off the bat. We'll know where we're standing. If it's not going to work, we can look at each other and go, see you next time. Good luck. And if it is going to work, let's go out tomorrow night.
Clearly, he hasn't found anyone with whom it is going to work, although he has dated the likes of Sandra Bullock and Ashley Judd. His longest-running relationship so far has been with Penelope Cruz, who was on the rebound from Tom when they teamed up for action-adventure flick Sahara. But not content with fielding compliments for his own good looks, he tried to take the credit for hers.
I have a comment on how she keeps her beauty. It has a lot to do with the people that she spends time with.
Within 2 years, they'd split up, and Matthew was starring in another romantic comedy, Failure to Launch. This time, his leading lady was Sarah Jessica Parker, who played a consultant hired by his parents to coax him out of the family home.
It's not my boat in any way.
What?
I'm a boat broker. I sell boats. I would love to own a boat like this, but it's not the right time in my life.
He was quick to distance himself from his character's inability to leave the nest.
No, not for me, man. I was ready to go out independently and test out my 18 years of living at home. Test it out in the rest of the world, you know?
Okay. All right. Y'all have a good time.
My pal.
And of course, for such an accomplished and confident alpha male, nailing the part was like falling off a log.
Is that a problem? When it's working, when comedy's working, it feels simple. It feels so easy. And that's sort of the work in the romantic comedies is to keep them light and funny. The work is to keep them there. It's not to go to a heavy or literal place. To kind of keep it the boat skipping across the waves, you know. Bam.
For his next trick, he took on the challenge of playing real-life university football coach Jack Lengyel. This time, he wasn't the only one impressed with his efforts.
I've seen the movie, and Matthew McConaughey playing me has been a burden. I have never taken so much heat about somebody playing me in my whole life, but he does a masterful job. He is a tremendous actor, and he really got into the movie. He developed the coach speak. He really learned about how to be a coach, his mannerisms and everything.
I'm Coach Jack Lengyel, guys. And normally I'm bad with names.
Set in 1970, the film tells a story of a small town in West Virginia, struggling to cope with the deaths of its college football team coaches and staff in a plane crash.
So Nate the Great.
And for once, Matthew seemed humbled by the experience.
I got it.
Everyone involved with the telling of the story was their hearts and their minds were in the right place. Starting with McGee, the director, and then everyone that came on to act as one of the roles understood that it was larger than any of us individually. So there's sort of a resonance that kind of sobers you up when you're a part of something like that. And pressure was kind of out the door very early, and privilege took the front row, if you understand what I mean.
Catherine Zeta-Jones has also earned her fair share of praise for her physical attributes. But on being named Glamour Woman of the Year in 2005, there was no trace of arrogance.
Basically, I'm just honored to be part of a wonderful array of women, you know, and I believe in everything they do, each and every field that they do it in, and I'm just happy to be here.
Hailing from a working-class area of Swansea in Wales, her father owned a sweet factory. After leaving school early, she studied musical theatre in London, but got her breakthrough in the TV adaptation of The Darling Buds of May in 1991. After starring in a miniseries Titanic, she landed a leading role in The Mask of Zorro, opposite Antonio Banderas.
Zorro was a servant of the people. He did what was needed.
It swashbuckled its way to the top of the box office in July 1998, earning Catherine and Antonio passage aboard a sequel, which didn't surface until 2005.
Fights for justice.
There are some who would call him heroic.
Others for revenge.
All that playing with swords and shooting guns.
Having given birth to 2 children in the intervening years, getting back into the action, not to mention the costume, proved a bit of a challenge.
I was a little rusty in the beginning, but you know, you do get back into it. It's surprising. It was like a dance thing for me, a choreography.
How did you get into the corset?
Oh, the corset was the worst thing, especially doing the physical stuff. It was a nightmare. Of course, I rehearsed in my sweatpants and my sneakers, so I forgot about all that stuff.
2, 1, action!
And when she wasn't fencing her way out of trouble,
Doing knitting and embroidery, yeah. I love to read, you know, and I hate to be on a set. I like to be on a set, you know, and I'm not the kind of person who can go and sleep in the trailer. I need to keep on edge, and if I read a book, I get lost in that character. So when I go to work, I go, who am I?
well, in real life, she's married to Michael Douglas, with whom she shares a birthday, albeit 25 years apart. The couple got engaged on the set of the film Traffic in 2000, but their marriage kicked off with controversy. After selling exclusive wedding photo rights to OK Magazine for £1 million, Hello Magazine printed unauthorised snaps. They went on to win an injunction.
Thrilled. Well, they tried to put a little bit of a spin on it, but we went unequivocally, and I'm very, very happy and grateful. I think it'll make it easier for a lot of people to deal with the press in England in the future as far as privacy is concerned.
In 2002, Catherine went back to her musical roots to take on the part of the murdering Velma Kelly in Chicago. She demanded that her hair be cut into a short bob so that the audience would be left in no doubt that she was doing all her own singing and dancing.
And all that jazz. Hold on, hun, we're gonna bunny hug. I bought some aspirin down at United Drug in case you shake a heart.
The smart move paid off with an Oscar for Best Supporting Actress.
And the Oscar goes to Catherine.
Everybody in Swansea, South Wales, I love you. And to my son Dylan, who is going to be watching at home, and to my husband, who I love, and I share this award with you, along with this one too. Thank you so much.
Despite their public displays of affection, rumours have abounded of frequent in-house fallouts between the pair. As well as commenting on his wife's weight gain, Michael has also gone on the record as saying that she's a nightmare in the kitchen. Catherine happily alluded to the fiery nature of their relationship during a press conference for Intolerable Cruelty.
I love that movie, The War of the Roses, since it is my husband as well. And we always, I've often wanted to, I say to my husband that it would be great to remake that with me and him in it, because then we'd really get down to some serious business.
Your Honor, I call Heinz the Baron Kraus von Espy.
In the Coen brothers film, she got to spar with co-star George Clooney as a lawyer and client who stitch each other up but can't keep their hands off each other. The pair looked very cosy together when they showed up at the Venice Film Festival in 2003. They got to star together again in Ocean's 12. But it was Catherine's chemistry with No Reservations co-star Aaron Eckhart that got the rumour mill turning in 2007. Reports of them holding hands in public allegedly sent Michael Douglas into a fury.
You take care of those dishes, and I'll take care of these.
Your half is bigger than mine.
Other upcoming projects for Catherine include a rugby comedy called Coming Out, which he's also producing.
Very mad.
This is my kitchen, and I'm not gonna let you take it away from me. This is who I am.
No, it's not.
In Control, my latest fragrance, which I absolutely love, is just out in department stores like Macy's everywhere now.
Yeah.
Britney Spears obviously doesn't wear her latest perfume. Ever since launching In Control in May 2006, she's been anything but. 2 months after giving birth to her second son, she filed for divorce from husband Kevin Federline and went on a 3-month bender with hardcore party pal Paris Hilton. Appearing on front pages in various stages of intoxication and undress, she hit the wall in February after emerging from a tattoo parlor with a shaved head. Her next stop was the Malibu Promises treatment facility, favoured by fellow Trash Pack member Lindsay Lohan. Promises founder Chris Prentice offered this analysis.
Britney Spears' prognosis, unless she gets the right kind of treatment, is dire. Her situation is most likely going to escalate. You know, she cut off her hair, she got a tattoo. Well, you know, they're forms of mutilation. Some people carry it further and they actually cut themselves. And wherever she's going, if they're treating her for mutilation or alcoholism or addiction, it's totally off the path. They have nothing to do with it. They are merely coping mechanisms. Britney is using them to try and cope with her out-of-control life.
It's not hard to see how she got there. She auditioned for Disney Channel's The New Mickey Mouse Club at the age of 8. While on the show, she embarked on a 4-year relationship with Justin Timberlake. Her debut album, Baby One More Time, went to #1 on the Billboard 200, and she was dubbed the Princess of Pop. Her second album, Oops, I Did It Again, debuted at #1 in the US and set a record for the biggest first-week sales of a female artist. Next came an advertising deal with Pepsi. Then came a third album and a world tour. But by the end of 2001, it was over with JT, and she announced she was taking a 6-month break from music. During her time out, she opened a restaurant in New York called Nyla and designed most of the interior herself. She also took on her first starring role in a film.
I had done 2 tours, 2 albums, and I'd been so confident with those 2 things, because that's my heart and my soul, that's what I'm supposed to do. And it was like when I first began to do the movie, I was like, okay, I'm doing a movie now. What do I do, you know? It was just very new for me. We have each other.
And perhaps that was the problem. Crossroads opened at #2 in the US box office, but took a beating from critics.
To get the car fixed.
I have an idea.
All right, next contestants.
And landed Britney with 2 Razzie Awards for Worst Actress and Worst Original Song.
Razzie goes to.
Next came a snog with Madonna and a 2-day marriage before capturing her courtship with Kevin Federline on home video, which aired on TV as Britney and Kevin Chaotic.
The whole story is the timing from when, you know, I was on tour and our relationship evolving until we got married, basically. And it's kind of interesting to see how we fell in love, got in fights, everything, you know, it's just kind of there.
Ever since then, the paparazzi have been on hand to document her bizarre lapses in judgment. Whether she's hanging out with Paris Hilton, driving with a baby on her lap, throwing up in a male model's hand, or shaving her head. Her original way of helping out in the aftermath of Hurricane Katrina in her native Louisiana was to treat 4 teenage girls who'd lost their homes to some retail therapy.
Hello, good morning, America. This is Britney here. I'm supposed to go outside and I'm going to meet some girls. They don't know I'm here, so come with me. Hi! Oh my God! I just wanted to come here today and tell you guys that we're going shopping. We're gonna go shopping and we're gonna pick out you guys some really cool outfits.
Have fun.
I like that one the best.
Okay, I'll get these.
Do you think these are too tight?
Y'all have extra smalls on these shirts.
Hopefully, she also bought them wardrobes to hang the clothes in.
I love with hoodies, you understand?
That would be cute. You should try that on, maybe.